Welcome to Design Domination, where you'll gain confidence, clarity, and a competitive edge in a crowded marketplace so you can dominate your competition. Hi, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Colleen Grotzer, and in this episode of Design Domination, I'm sharing 21 creative business lessons with you. And that's because July marks 21 years since I created the LLC for my consulting business, and it's been almost that long since I started working for myself full-time. So I thought this would be the perfect time to reflect on 21 business lessons that I've learned over the years. Let's get started. The first one is don't refer to yourself as a freelancer. Now, when I was first starting out in my own business, I called myself a freelancer all the time. I didn't think much of it really, right? Working for myself seemed synonymous with freelancer. But I quickly came to see that freelancer was what I call the other F word. Okay, I will say though, it doesn't have as much of a bad taste as it did 20 years ago, but it also really doesn't convey anything about what you do. You know, it's a very generic term. You can be a freelancer in many industries, right? You're not just a designer. And it's important for friends and family and clients to know what you do so they can refer people to you. But also, you might find that clients may not take you as seriously if you call yourself a freelancer. Now, I'm not saying you can't be a freelancer. I'm just saying, don't use the term. Another issue is that many designers who call themselves freelancers don't really think of themselves as a business. And so they don't really act like one, right? They don't act like a business. And they might be more lackadaisical about contracts and payments and their marketing and so forth. But you are a business, so you have to think like one if you're going to stay in business. And if you work for yourself, whether you're an LLC, incorporated, or not even a separate business entity at all, you still need to think like a business owner. Okay, the second lesson is own who you are and what you do. This is a very important lesson, and this took me a very long time to learn it. So one of the things was, that I wondered for years, should I refer to my business as I or we? This actually became more of an issue for me I remember this one particular case. I went to meet with a potential client about a media kit design. Right. And then shortly after that, I was on my honeymoon. Well, I remember taking my laptop over to the office area to check my email because there was no Wi-Fi in those days, and then checking to see if I had heard from this client. Totally pathetic. Right. Even worse, I learned right then when I was checking my email that they had turned me down for the work, a media kit design. And when I asked why, I couldn't believe the words that were staring me in the face in the email. It was because I didn't have staff. Why in the world would I need to have staff to design a media kit? I had created plenty of media kits in the past all by myself. Why did they see this as being an issue? I knew darn well I was capable of taking on much larger projects than that, and working on them by myself. So that really pissed me off. And I think after that, I kind of felt the need to prove myself to certain potential clients. But the other thing is I also remember writing and rewriting some more the copy on my about page, right? I went back and forth using I or we so many times. And I wanted to attract any potential client, those who were looking for a solo designer and those who were looking for an agency. But I also didn't want to misrepresent myself either. Now, what I should have done was just owned being a solo designer and realized that clients, some of them are misinformed, right? Or they might have different preferences about who they want to work with, right? And then I could have just moved on from clients that didn't want to work with a solo designer, right? I mean, some clients want to work with a solo designer, some want to work with an agency. You don't need to adjust who you are and how you want your business to be because some clients may not want to work with you, Several years ago, I had a coach who strongly encouraged me to run my business instead of doing the work. And they were very much into the concept of you being only the business owner and then having a team do the work. Well, I really didn't want to not do the work, but I have also since learned that I don't like managing people and I don't want to hire someone else to manage them either. I also have certain standards. I'm super picky, and some of that is necessary for the type of work that I do, accessibility work. And I do a lot of very technical publications, but I don't have the personality of somebody who wants to do that. I would rather work by myself or have one person working with me. I have absolutely no desire to have a large team. I want a much simpler business. But the other thing is that a lot of designers think they need to be everything to everyone. And I used to think this. I had a client that I did website updates for, and one day he was like, "Oh, I think you should offer SEO too." Well, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go learn something new, and I didn't want to start offering something new, right? And I see a lot of branding and print designers who feel like they also need to be a website developer. But newsflash, you don't. Stay in your lane. Instead of learning something new and offering a new service, just subcontract or refer the work that you don't want to do to someone who does do it. If it's not something you know, it will take you so much longer and it may not get done as well. Now, the third lesson that I learned about was niching. Okay, niching can be a very controversial topic. Do you have to niche to be successful in business? Do you have to niche to make six figures? No, absolutely not. Will it be harder if you don't? Probably, could be, yeah. I struggled with the idea of niching for quite a few years. So many coaches talk about niching, but like most designers, I felt like, well, I could serve everyone. So why in the world would I want to alienate potential clients by niching, right? Now, in my case, most of my clients have always been nonprofits, but I used to have like a few small business clients as well. Well, I remember struggling to write blog posts, but not because I didn't know what to say. It was because I couldn't speak to both audiences, nonprofits and small businesses, using the same language. Nonprofits and small businesses don't use the same terms. You also refer to nonprofits as nonprofits or organizations. You refer to businesses as businesses. You know, some nonprofits sell things just like businesses do, but they may work off donations. And then on the other side, well, not all nonprofits are charities. Some nonprofits don't want to hear about sales, right? They're only interested in increasing donations. Businesses, on the other hand, are talking about sales. They're focused on sales. They're not taking donations. So I would try using more generic terms like organization to represent both audiences. And I would try to incorporate all the different terms in my copy. So when I would refer to increasing sales, for instance, I would say increasing sales or donations. Well, my copy started sounding completely unnatural and really verbose. In trying to be inclusive of both audiences, I realized I was really alienating both of them. So that meant that they didn't think I really understood them and their needs. So then I thought, okay, I will make nonprofits my niche. But that too is really broad, right? And it didn't help that I was offering almost anything and everything, you know, at the buffet: logo design, which I actually hate, print design, website design and development, website maintenance plans, and then SEO through a partner relationship and so forth, right? It was a lot to manage. Plus, I was super confused about who I was serving and what I was offering. So I kind of came across as a jack of all trades. And then I talked with a coach and they suggested that I simplify and get rid of some of these services. And one of them that they wanted me to get rid of was maintenance plans. Well, I was kicking and screaming about why would I get rid of recurring revenue? I mean, everyone talks about recurring revenue as the holy grail, right? But there are some downsides to recurring revenue, which I talked about with business coach David C. Baker on the podcast. Now, I only had a few website maintenance plans and they didn't bring in that much money every month. The profit from them was almost nothing, and there was a ton for me to manage. So as much as I was afraid to get rid of them, I did. And you know what? I'm so glad that I did. Now, niching, which I did more so with accessibility, is something that I wish that I had done sooner in business. My business has always done well, six figures every year, but niching really helped me to do things like charge more. You know, it bolstered my confidence, especially in the sales process, which I used to hate, right? Now I don't mind it at all. It helped me get clear about how to talk to my audience about what I offered. It helped me get more respect. And it helped me to have fewer processes too. You know, I didn't have to, I'm not always like switching gears to a million different things, right? And so prior to niching, I struggled with all of those things that I just listed. And I think that that really affected me getting work from new clients who didn't know me. I had a lot of clients that would come back to me all the time, but it was really hard to get new ones. And since I started niching, I mean, I get clients so much easier. Now, lesson number 4 is screen clients before working with them. In my earlier years in business, when a potential client would call or email me, I would get so excited. Could this be my next project? And I thought it was my mission in business to win every single client and project that came my way. I didn't have any kind of a screening process in place before working with a client. Red flags would be flying everywhere and I would just ignore them all. No, that's not going to happen with this client. I had potential clients who wanted to tell me how much they were willing to pay. I thought I needed to adjust my pricing to meet that. I had potential clients who wanted to ramble on for more than an hour on the phone as if I had nothing else to do. They don't respect you or your time. I had one or two who refused to use my calendar link to schedule a call. I had a few ask me to do free work up front to see if they liked it, and only then would they pay me. Now listen, if potential clients won't follow your process or abide by your terms, that's a huge red flag. And it will come back to bite you every single time. They will make your life difficult. They might fight you throughout the process, trying to manage things instead of letting you lead the process, right? So you always want to screen clients to see if they're a good fit or not. Now that leads me to the next lesson, which is be comfortable saying no. You do not have to, and you should not work with every client who comes your way. I used to be such the people pleaser, and I know that so many other designers are too. It's okay to say no. It's even good to say no, right? You have to get comfortable saying no to clients that you don't want to work with, to unreasonable client requests, to certain types of work that you don't want to do, such as something that goes against your morals or work that you just can't stand doing, right? Like coding HTML emails. And also saying no to work that you're not good at. You do not have to do anything that you do not want to do. And in fact, if you say yes and you take on a project or a client that you don't enjoy working with, you won't do your best work. And that won't make you look good. And that will cost you a good testimonial. And it will cost you a referral. And worse, it could cost you the project fee. You might end up having to refund it. If you say yes to client requests, such as sucking up making extra revisions, you won't be as profitable. If you say yes to calls and meetings on the weekends or evenings just to accommodate a client, they could bully you in other areas of your business too. It's also okay to not put up with bad clients, bully clients, late payers, difficult clients, and so forth. And it is 100% okay to not work with them to begin with, or to fire them if you're already working with them. You do not have to put up with them. Now, not only should you be okay saying no, you should be comfortable hearing no. And that is lesson number 6. I used to think, again, it was my goal to win every client and project that came my way. And when I didn't get that project or client, I was super disappointed. And I felt like I had failed. And I questioned myself. Was it me? Was it my pricing? Was my work not good enough? Was it because I was a solo designer, right? Remember that one client that got in my head about that. So let me tell you, your goal in business is not to get every single project or client, like I said earlier. Now, like Blair Enns says, no is the second best answer we can hear. And we want to hear it as early in the buying cycle as possible. And that's because you don't want to waste time on clients who aren't a good fit. Boom. Okay. Lesson number 7. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. A lot of designers, I get it, are afraid or just don't want to write blog posts or post to social media because they're shy about putting themselves out there. Okay, totally understand. Or maybe you think clients won't care what you have to say. Or maybe you think other people are going to judge you for what you say. Totally get it. I used to not even get on video calls or put my video on video calls when I would attend webinars. And I wouldn't ask any questions. I thought, I'm just going to look stupid for asking a question, right? And bullies at home and at school used to criticize everything I said and did. So wouldn't strangers treat me worse? Plus, people can be complete jerks online. There's always going to be someone who's a jerk or jealous and says something negative, right? And everyone has an opinion. But you have a lot of knowledge to share, even if you think you don't. I promise you do. Your audience will probably surprise you and embrace what you have to say. Most designers are also not going to go beyond that and go, like, say, get on a podcast or host a workshop. But those are actually great ways to get more exposure for your business and to get new clients. It builds credibility. I never thought I would even have a podcast. Okay. A coach suggested I do it to reach a new audience, designers, you. Again, why would I put myself out there? That would be crazy. I was always criticized, right? But I've actually been pleasantly surprised by the feedback I've gotten. And I try to ignore the couple of people who felt the need to tell me that they can't stand my laugh. Okay. Not my problem. That's their problem. Okay. Okay. And that leads me to the next lesson, which is don't take everything personally. I remember getting really upset early in my career if my boss or my clients didn't like my designs. And I'm sure it could have been any combination of people-pleasing behavior on my part, missing the mark with the design, or, someone who just wanted to put their own stamp on things. If someone doesn't like your design, it doesn't mean they don't like you, okay? And design can be very subjective, and everyone thinks they're a designer. But it could also be that you need to know who you're designing for, and you need to make sure to get that right. And what can help you to do that is keeping things objective. You want to use a creative brief and refer back to it as you're designing. And then you want to reiterate a client's goals and who their audience is when you go to present the work. It makes it so much easier to explain your work and to get it approved. If you get any criticism, assess it and see if you can learn from that. But whatever you do, don't ask what they think. It's like I said, everyone thinks they're a designer, and everyone has an opinion. So if you ask for one, you will get one. I promise you. Okay, the next lesson is use a contract for every new client. I can't stress this lesson enough. Use a contract for every single new client. And that goes for family and friends too. It doesn't matter if you know your client or they seem nice. Trust me, okay? No pun intended. Contracts should always be used. You don't necessarily have to use one for every single project for the same client, but you should for each client and any different type of work. Okay. And what I mean by that is that you might use a different contract, for website design and development than you would for print or digital files, right? This is important because contracts clarify the scope of the project and the terms of working with you, when to pay you, and so forth, right? It makes sure everyone is on the same page. Whatever you do, do not assume that your clients will understand how you work or what is or is not included or what rights that they're getting to the files, if they're getting any. Plus, professionals use contracts, always. I once had this nightmare project where my point of contact changed about 6 times. I'm not kidding. And I can't tell you how many times I had to point them back to the contract for them to see what the scope was. Okay. But the other thing is that if you do, like I mentioned, if you do work for friends and family, you've got to use a contract. It is very easy for you to make exceptions and go beyond the scope of work. And hey, if you want to do that, that's your business to do that, right? But I have seen things get muddied and then you become resentful. I mean, I've had it happen many times and it ruined a few friendships. And I've since refused to do work for friends or family. And the other thing, though, is don't think that somebody you know won't burn you. One business who didn't pay me was owned by 2 women that I had met years prior at a small local business conference, and I had a really good rapport with them. In fact, I worked on their website for several years until they ghosted me. They didn't give me a heads up that they were going to have any issues paying. They didn't even respond to my emails or phone messages asking for the money. I mean, luckily the amount that they stiffed me was very small. It was maybe like $20 or $50 or something, but I kind of knew them. So that was weird. Let's get into a lesson about sales. Oh, I can hear you screaming. Sales, right? Okay, but hear me out. Sales does not have to feel sleazy, and it doesn't have to be hard either. I used to hate the sales process. I mean, what do I say and when? Did I not do the close properly? Right? I would be totally nervous. And I felt like the client was a shark and there was like blood in the water all around me. I felt like sales was about convincing clients to work with me. When you understand the underlying problem that you're really helping your clients with, though, then the sales process is so much easier. It will just be a conversation about helping them and how you can do that, not about convincing them, right? You'll be selling by helping them, as my friend Nick Gulick says. And then, as my friend Mike Killen says, you want to sell futures, not features. So that means you want to talk about the results of what you sell, right? Not like specs and things like that. What is this going to do for them? What problem is this going to solve, right? And the other thing that happens when you talk about solving those problems and not talking about the deliverables, clients are less likely to commoditize what you do and then go price shop. But you have to understand the value that you bring to the table. If you think you're selling just a brochure or just a website and you don't see those things as giving them, for example, like a more professional business presence and helping them bring in more clients, then your clients won't see it that way either. No one wants a brochure or a website just to have one, right? Or a logo design. They don't want that just to have one. They want what it's going to do for them, right? And that is where the value lies. That brings me to lesson number 11, which is revisit your rates annually. The cost of living goes up. Your business expenses go up. Your skills get better over time. You get faster over time, and clients should expect to pay more. I remember a time when I discovered that I had not raised my pricing for this one client in like 7 years, I think it was. 7 years. Might have been 5, but still, that's horrible. Really, really horrible. Okay. So always look at your rates every year. Now, lesson number 12, very important lesson. Don't assume all clients are looking for cheap. A lot of designers assume that clients are looking for cheap prices. I used to think this too. And you know what? Sometimes, well, I think probably a lot of times, this stems from our own mindset around money, right? Sometimes it's because we undervalue the work that we do. We forget how much effort we've put into learning it and then perfecting it over time, right? You become better and faster at it. But for some reason, you think that should cost less because it's taking less time. Or you think it should cost less because clients can Google how to do it. Well, this just keeps you from charging more, and it keeps you from looking for clients who will pay more. Not all clients want to do it themselves. Most of the clients are not interested in doing that because they value their time. And many clients are willing to pay more to get it done right the first time and not go round and round with a designer who is cheaper and maybe they don't know, maybe they're not as skilled, right? And if you think that having low rates helps you get work, well, sorry, but you're wrong. I know this from tons of experience. Good clients are looking for value and they're turned off by low rates. And they will wonder why the work is so cheap. It must not be that good. That's what they're thinking, right? That's probably not true in your case, but that's what they're going to think, right? I've had clients tell me this. This is why they didn't pick me, because my rates were too low and they thought I wasn't qualified. Even though I could run circles around the work, I could do that in my sleep. Okay? I can't tell you how many times I lost a project due to estimating and giving a low rate. Okay. And I can't tell you how icky I felt when a client that I told, when I went to tell them I wasn't offering one-off website fixes anymore, he said to me, well, darn, I was hoping to work with you again because you were so cheap. Cringe, right? I'd rather hear no due to my price being too high than too low now, right? At least I still feel more respected. Low rates, though, also mean that you will always attract clients looking for cheap work. You get what you're putting out there. Cheap clients are usually the worst to work with, too. They will nitpick everything to death, and they may not pay you on time either. Well, but my rant's not over. Low rates also keep you stuck. Not only will your business not grow, but you'll be stuck in a mental rut and you'll be afraid to charge more. And that's not a fun place to be. I get it. I've been there. And if you live in fear that raising your rates will cause your current clients to leave, your business will suffer. You will always be in a race to the bottom when you price projects. You will always be competing on price against other designers. All right, now before I end my rant on low pricing, let me also talk about lowering your pricing to get a client. Because you will likely encounter a client who will ask you to lower your price. Well, you can do that, but you should also decrease what is included as well. You don't want to do the same amount of work for the same price, right? And you want to, like, the other thing you can do is make the schedule more flexible or something, but you never want to keep the terms the same and just lower the price. Doesn't look good. Now, another pricing lesson is don't charge hourly. Hourly punishes you. I learned that as I got better and faster, my rate needed to go up because I was spending less time on a project and I was able to deliver it faster. So that meant I was adding more value to my work. What client doesn't want good and fast, right? Well, that shouldn't come cheap. And there's also only so many hours in a day and in a week and in a month. And that means you limit how much you can make if you're pricing by the hour. Now, I also didn't think it was fair if it took me longer than it should cost the client more, right? So when you use flat rates, it's actually better for you and the client. And the value of what you provide isn't based on your time. It's based on your expertise. And so you make more money. The other thing though is that clients aren't writing a blank check. They're not waiting to find out at the end of the job how many hours that job took you. They will know upfront what the project is going to cost. I mean, it's a win-win. Another money lesson is to always talk money up front. Okay? Professionals talk money up front. It's expected. And when you do this, you get an idea of what a client is looking to spend so that you can create a solution that works for them. Okay? But you also won't waste your time writing estimates for tire kickers or for a client with completely unrealistic expectations. That never happens. I can't tell you how many times I spent days agonizing over estimates for projects. Oh my gosh. What if this price is too high? What if it's too low? If only I had brought up some kind of a price range when I was talking to them, I would have saved a ton of time. The estimates would have been more of just a written confirmation, right? And then with the terms, right? It wouldn't have been this guessing game. I remember this time a potential client called to ask about having a slide deck designed. And I think they needed it done over the weekend too. And I told her, okay, that would probably start at this, right? She was completely blown away. So out of curiosity, I asked her, well, how much had you, been expecting to hear that this would cost? And she said $100. Really glad I didn't waste any time putting together an estimate. That would have been crazy. Okay, another lesson is to always, always, always get money up front. Now, fortunately, I've only not been paid by one or two clients, and it wasn't for a lot of money. But I've had a gazillion late paying clients that I put up with for years. Getting money up front means less chasing down payments. When you don't get money up front, you take on a lot of risk. What if you do the work and then you send them a proof and then they cancel the project and then they have someone else who is cheaper finish it and they just don't pay you? Now that might be a rare scenario, but I have heard of that happening from other designers. You don't want to spend your time investing your time into a project that you're potentially not going to get paid for. Lesson number 16 is to set and also enforce boundaries with clients. Now, setting boundaries is like the easy part. Enforcing them is the hard stuff. For years, I had no boundaries. I was a huge people pleaser, and I see that many designers are too. My business was a complete circus with clients running it, clients running the show. Anything they asked for the most part, I did it. One client who used to work at my full-time place of work would actually call me at my job instead of waiting for me to respond via email, right, when I was able to contact her outside of my work hours. I should have told her that was totally not okay, but speaking up for yourself against clients can be hard. I mean, what if you lose their business, right? Well, the thing is that you teach people how to treat you by what you let them get away with. But the other thing is that rarely are you a pushover in business and then not in your personal life. I don't know. It seems to me that's the case. But boundaries also include your written policies too. So not just how people treat you like verbally, but your written policies, right? That's like your terms of work, how to contact you or to not contact you, and then when they can expect to reach you. Now, enforcing them might mean that you're collecting late fees for an invoice paid late, and maybe you're not replying to calls and emails outside of work hours, or that you have to fire a client. Now, speaking of firing bad clients, that brings me to lesson number 17. You definitely should fire clients who don't respect your boundaries. If they don't respect your boundaries, they don't respect you. And hanging on to bad clients negatively affects your mindset, and that affects your work for good clients too. You become distracted and they suck up your time and energy. Oh my gosh. I wish I had learned that lesson so much sooner than I did. Get rid of them. Lesson number 18 is ask for testimonials or reviews. So after a job is well done and the client is happy, that is the best time to ask for a testimonial or a review. I've had new clients tell me that they could relate to what another client said, like reading that review, and that review or testimonial really helped them to decide to work with me. So these are really important to get, and they can also help your website rank higher in search results. Lesson number 19 is to keep backups. You do not want to have to learn this lesson the hard way either. Okay, back up your work. I can't tell you how many times having a backup saved me. I've had the power go out and I've needed to continue working, and I was able to do that from my laptop, because I had the backup of my main computer. And I've had clients come back years later to update a brochure, and I was able to just pull the file up from an external drive that I use that for backups for all my projects, and that saved me a ton of time. I also maintain a backup of my external backup drive in case one drive fails, because I've had that happen too. Now, lesson number 20 is get support. Get support when you feel stuck. I was thrust right into my first design job 2 days after my college graduation, and I was the only designer there. There just wasn't another designer to get feedback or support from, right? But then when I went to work in a design firm and there were other designers there and an art director, that was really great. That really helped me to stretch my design muscles. So if you're a solo designer, don't design in isolation. Don't be afraid to ask for critique from more seasoned designers, right? And you can easily join an online group or get a design mentor to help you. And that will give you objective opinions and help you to improve your skills. Not just your creative skills, but software skills as well, even business skills, and maybe even how you approach a design. But the other thing is, and this was another lesson is that I learned as part of this, is don't be afraid to invest in yourself. And what I mean by that is I remember talking to a business coach almost 20 years ago. And it was fewer than 20 years ago, maybe like 15 years ago. And you know what? The cost for that felt astronomical to me. I couldn't have imagined spending that much money. I also didn't believe in myself enough. Now that I look back on it, and I had a ton of imposter syndrome stuff going on. So I couldn't help but wonder years later how much farther my business would have gotten and how much faster I would have gotten there if I had just invested in myself back then and then worked with that coach. Now, my final lesson, 21, is don't ask for advice from unqualified people. And by that, I mean, don't go asking friends and family what to do about your business unless they have a business. And I say that because for years, I would ask family and friends about client issues, clients I was having problems with, right? And they would always tell me, well, if they're paying you, especially that much, just put up with it. Just put up with the bad treatment from them. Heck, no wonder I got that advice, right? Some of the people giving that advice were treating me badly. At least with clients who were doing it, I was getting paid, right? No, but seriously, as I say a lot, you do not have to pimp yourself out for the money. So when you ask unqualified people for advice, you're going to get unqualified advice. You get advice that isn't necessarily helpful. If someone had told me years ago, you don't have to put up with that crap, maybe I would have gotten a backbone a lot sooner. I didn't until much, much later after investing a lot of money into coaching. Anyway, so what lessons have you learned in business? Let me know in a comment, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If this content was helpful, you can support the podcast by buying me a coffee. It might actually end up being a glass of wine or some tea, but you could go to buymeacoffee.com/creativeboost.